What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Spacer Engineers. Space Engineers. And before that blubbering mess up, I wanted to wish everyone a Happy New Year. I know it's a little late on you guys' end, but I recorded this on January 1st, so it's still a New Year's Day to moi. So, Happy New Year there. Hope you guys had a great Christmas holiday time and had a Happy New Year. So, when we left off in the last episode, we got our second... No, I think the second solar array's actually been active for a little bit. I'm thinking, how's it doing, by the way? They're all on one dot, so... Did I build these sideways? I guess I did. I just noticed that only because the battery lights are aligned differently, and it was like, wait, what? I did, however, I think I found an idea for what to use at least one of these. Probably this platform. I'm thinking. Probably that one. I don't think this one would work as well. I think what I'm going to do is turn this platform into more of a capital vessel landing pad. Mainly just because the hangar is small for that kind of a ship. It would work for maybe a Corvette or little drillers or something like that. Just double check I don't have my headlamps on. Actually, in this room... I'll probably have to go through and reconfigure the lighting so that it knows these are the hangar lights, and then I'm probably going to do... I just realized I didn't do bottom for these. Why did I not do that? I'll probably end up doing... changing their lighting a bit to where they're brighter, or at least the radius is bigger, if nothing else. Yeah, I don't really know why I didn't put these in before now. This one spot we might actually end up leaving. Come to think of it. These are fine, but these back two I may actually change. The reason being... that kind of cuts off the walkway a little bit. So we'll probably put one... Can I snap to this? I can. But I can't get it... I could put one like that. I just don't know if the light will actually shine the way that I want it to. But whatever. And I totally forgot. I should have that lighting script still running to where it's going to just set them automatically, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that works okay. Let's see. We could also throw one... I could probably do a double, like, here, maybe? If not like that, was I putting them on the outside? I think I was putting them on the outside. Alright, let's change that before we get too far into that kind of stuff. Come on. There we go. So... I need to put a single corner light here and a single corner light... Wait, is this a double? I hope that's not a double. Hold on. I thought I had singles. I guess I did not. I thought that was kind of cool, though. I was like, snap that one over there, snap that one over there, and they were both aligned right. I was like, well, look at that. That's cool. How did that happen? It's because it was wrong. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, this hangar works for smaller ships like the utility ships, or even something to the effect of smaller Corvette. I say smaller only because of the wall. It would only be able to fit like within this range unless you weren't actually having it hook up to a connector. I take that back. The connectors would have to be here. That doesn't actually mean that the size of... You get my point. It has to fit here. That's the point. Gosh. So because it has to fit in here, you couldn't really do like a traditional capital vessel. So I'm kind of thinking that we'll expand out that top one, maybe reconnect it through the conveyor system. It seems like everybody was okay with the pillar lighting thing. That seemed to take off or be easily accepted. I still have some tweaks I want to make. One being down here. All of this, I think we squared away okay, with the exception being that one little gap. Which I don't know if I'm going to go into creative and kind of wall that off, if I'm just going to put a catwalk there to keep people from falling in. I don't really know how I'm going to fix that. That's fine. This part down here was the wrinkle, though. I'll probably end up reconfiguring this a little bit, but the easiest way to reconfigure it is going to end up being moving these doors, I think. Particularly here, I could make this door frame go back one without too much of an issue, and then I could still put a light here and put a pillar there. So I'm probably going to end up fixing that. There was something else down here I was going to fix. Oh, that's what it was. So I didn't even think about it. I didn't even realize it. But I've been using these 2-block ramps. So you have the base and then you have the nose. And it creates a 2x1, I think, or 1x2. I'm not really sure what the actual dimensions should be. I think it's 2x1. Hallway, or not hallway, a ramp, walkway. And I didn't realize that's the exact same measurements as, drumroll, as the stairs. I did not even realize that. I didn't even think about it. So I could have just been using stair blocks the whole time and actually had legit walkways. So I think that's that, and maybe trying to correct some of these doorways is probably going to be the priority for this episode. And if I feel like it / get to it, maybe expanding that platform up top to prep for possibly starting to build a capital vessel. I'm not sure. So let me tinker with a few of these things, see what I can get done, and I will be back momentarily. Okay, so far, so mostly good. I moved this door back and added some other lights there. We reconfigured all of this to meet OSHA's standards, as one of the comments that I got on my last video mentioned. And it does work a lot better, and it just looks a lot nicer. I probably would have done that here had I thought about it. But now I'm pretty sure this is mounted, like the glass is mounted to it, to the floor, so I'm not sure if I can remove this without redoing all of this, which I may end up doing anyway, because I'm kind of thinking this platform here may turn into some other kind of observatory and keep this glass awning cover going. I actually think it would be cool. I don't have the system yet. I don't have it worked out in my head. I don't have the mechanisms planned. If you guys want to contribute to the planning, go for it. But I'm actually considering doing something like this glass awning type thing over the top of this whole area. But then if we actually make this a capital vessel landing pad, we'd have to have the top part be able to either swivel out and open so that you could launch, or lift out with some kind of hinge mod. I could add in the hinge mods, I guess, but I don't know how that would work, because it would have to, if you had the walls being glass and then a glass layer, they would have to connect to the glass, which is kind of finicky, and it doesn't like doing that most of the time. So some kind of all glass top, but the top part could move, would be kind of cool. I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. I've got a couple ideas, but they're really crazy and they're very skeletal at the moment, like very bare bones ideas. As for this platform, I don't really know what it would be useful for, but it's already here, so we might as well use it for something. But yeah, so I haven't really reconfigured this area, but if I end up doing that, I'd probably convert it into stairs, just for simplicity's sake, and it all just works. Now, as to the lighting stuff, I had a different idea than I originally planned, but I think it would still work rather well. So I think I'm going to keep this, excuse me, this style for the ramps, for the walkways, because it works well with the ramps being 2 blocks long. You usually end up being able, like this, to put two blocks between each ramp or something in some way, shape, or form, some fashion or other. It's usually doable. Whether it be the one on this end to one on that end, you know, like, it usually ends up being somehow plausible to do that. Particularly because if you put one of these, you could just say that there's just a wall there. Like, one pillar and one pillar together just makes a wall. And if you go more than that, then you have two and you have a 2-block gap. So it usually works. The walkways that are flat here, not so much. Now, there's a couple of things that I thought of doing. One is taking the lights off of the side of the wall and converting it to every other pillar. Instead of having 2 blocks in between, it would go pillar, blank, pillar. And then on every pillar, let me see, what was it, 8? Then on every pillar side, having a double light on the floor. And so it would go here, etc., and so on. So it wouldn't be every edge, but rather than like this, crap, I didn't realize it's going to build that. Rather than like that, where, that's funny. It built it all the way, and then it'll probably tear it back down. But rather than having it sit that way where it kind of seems like there's an overhang or a lip there, putting it on the pillar actually is kind of what they were intended to do. So I'm kind of thinking it would look something like so. And I don't know if I can get, without doing the spectator mode, I don't know if I can get the pillar to latch onto that little lip there. Maybe, come on, I got it. Got you. It looks something like that. Now in this case, where the block happens to line up with the door, we could leave the doors lit that way, and no harm, no foul. Everything's good. In fact, I'm actually going to go off of this pillar. I think I'm going to go off of that pillar. As that is kind of the entry point. You come down this way and then it branches off. So I think that makes sense to do it that way. Let's actually space this out. If we went every other, it would go here. You'd skip one, it would go here, and then, okay, so that lines up okay. And that fixes our lines to where everything's even, everything's symmetrical. I'm happy about it. And it's not driving me crazy. I'm going to have to remove that light. I forgot about that. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. And having it like this. It's a little bit more on the traditional side. I was trying to do something a little more different. But quite frankly, it would have worked better had I planned to do it that way from the beginning, and I did not do that. And so that was making it a little problematic, and it was kind of annoying. So ultimately, I think it'll end up looking better this way. Because it'll look a bit more uniform. It'll just kind of look like everything kind of belongs where it is, rather than the haphazard way it was kind of looking there for a minute. Because that really, the pillar thing was not how I originally planned on doing it. So it kind of made sense when things weren't really lining up or working. Because that wasn't really in any way, shape, or form part of the plan when I first started building the thing. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, well, if this looks like I didn't plan it, yeah, it's because it wasn't planned that way. But yeah, I think that'll work out better. I think that looks a bit more uniform. I think it looks more symmetrical. And as far as the corner blocks go, I don't think they look like they're sticking out into the floor as much because, you know, they're actually in a corner somewhere and they're actually doing their job, what they were built for, what they were supposed to do. So all that works. I think I like that better overall than the other ideas that I've had. This room was set up entirely differently, so I don't think we need to change anything here, and I think that works for everything else. Now, we do have to do this up here, because as much as this works for the door, I just don't like it. I'm kind of thinking in this situation where we've got some extenuating circumstances, I'm either going to put a corner light up on top, or we're going to put a regular interior light. But see, in like this instance, the interior light's always in the middle of the block, so it doesn't really work there. So we're probably just going to have to put them up on the top, I think, and then clear out the middle. Now the only issue here is putting things in front of the door, because essentially that's exactly what I would have to do in order to get this to work. Put that there, and put that there, and put that one there. There we go. I had to kind of jury-rig that as it was. Let's actually see, without my headlamps, that's not too bad actually on its own. I was kind of thinking I was going to have to, you know what, we could do one. We could do just one, maybe. We could do a double there, and then space it here, and then just put one on that side. I think that would work. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll work. Because you obviously can't have something in front of the door, because then you'd be like, whoa, and you'd trip over it every time you walked in, which would just be weird. Plus, we have a light above the door, so it's kind of like the same thing. I don't know. It makes sense in my head. I'm the one making the rules here. I mean, we don't have to do every other. We don't have to do whatever we don't want. But I tend to have, like, my own little rules stuck in my own head. Let's see. So we need to fix this as well. Alright. So there's that one and there's that one. And then that should be good. I was thinking I might do some of this off camera, but I was kind of figuring it out as I went. So that's just kind of the way that it worked out. Another thing that I wanted to bring up while we're doing all this base building and stuff, I did also kind of keep in the theme, and I did the double bar here on all of the, well, that didn't make any sense because it would have gone down into the ground, you wouldn't have seen it. But anywhere it would have been visible, I went ahead and added the double bar, so that's kind of our our ramp theme, you could call it, is every 2 blocks there's a pillar and you have a double bar light on each side. And then for the floor, you have them every other space with a column on each side. I think I like that. I think I like how it looks overall. Maybe tweak the settings a little bit, that we're getting these little pocket dots in the middle, that if I increase the radius or turn the intensity up or something, it may not do that. I don't know. It wasn't really doing it before, but we had single lights and we had them spaced differently, so I don't know how much that contributes. But one thing I wanted to bring up, though, is it was brought to my attention, I don't know when, I didn't actually take note of it, but I believe it was through a channel comment or a message or something. There was a game that came out really recent, I think it was like December 12th or something like that, called, don't quote me on this, but I think it's called Stationeer? Not Astroneer, not Engineer, I think it's Stationeer, I think, was the actual name of it. And it looked really interesting. I may end up reaching out, if I haven't already by the time you're viewing this. Again, I recorded this on Monday, so it'll be a few days by the time you guys are watching it. But I may reach out to the developers and see if they want to do like a review copy or something like that. Because it looks really interesting, but I'm not really sure I want to dive in with full price of like 25 bucks or something on a game I'm not really sure about. I believe it is in like early access, but it looked really interesting. It was kind of like all about stations and building systems and connecting pressures and all. It kind of like Feed the Beast almost, only not Minecraft, but like you have to have this system up and running to do this other system to have this one connect to this system. And it was a little less where Space Engineers and Minecraft and them are a little bit more sandboxy per se. It seemed a little bit more system-based of you had to actually make systems work before you could do stuff. So it looked really interesting and kind of cool. It was more a question of, does it live up to its advertisement type of thing? So that's something I was looking into, because if I really started playing it or really liked it, I may end up switching that out for the Let's Build on Saturdays. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you haven't heard of it, then I would encourage you to look it up, watch a trailer, see if that's something you'd be interested in watching. I don't know if there's other YouTube people already doing it. If there are, maybe I'll even check them out to see how the game ends up playing. Stuff like that. So, but it's very new, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's not a whole lot of people on it yet. It's something I'm looking into getting. But let me know what you guys think about that. I am trying to keep my episodes a little bit shorter. Again, getting back into the flow. This is the first week that I've come back off of vacation, so I'm still getting back into the groove of the recording system and the routine. So if this episode didn't cover as much as you'd like or something, I would say give it a few more episodes and see how we're doing. Because what I'd like to do is cut out some of the fluff like what I just did in this episode. This was a bad example of where I want it to go. But messing around with all the lights, I'd rather do more of a cut to that, and then here's what we're doing, it's done, explain what I'm thinking, explain why I did it that way, etc., get feedback, and stuff like that. And then, you know, cut again and go do more progress, and I'd like to cut out some of the fluff and shorten the episodes down to like 20 minutes or so. So this one was a little bit of both. It still has a bit of the old system in it where I was doing a bit more talking while building and stuff like that, but I'd like to cut out some more of that so that the episodes are a little shorter for not only you guys to watch, but for me to record. It may require more off-camera work, but it'll be less on-camera work kind of thing. So I'd like to do a bit more of that. But yeah, overall, I think that's going to wrap things up for this episode. Next episode, we may start working, because I wanted to fix that. I wanted to get that a bit more streamlined where I liked it. I wasn't happy with how it was in the last episode. It was like, the idea's building, but I think I'm okay with this at this point. The one thing I thought of doing to give a bit more detail is either replacing all these blocks with interior walls so that there's a bit more detail, or using spectator camera and stuff like that and going underneath, like take these blocks out from underneath, flipping catwalk blocks. Let me see if I have any in my... I do. So rather than placing them down like this, because I obviously cannot do that with the lights here, it would be to flip them up, but place them essentially like... I'm trying to find a spot that it's visible. Essentially like this, where it's snapped to the block below it. But when they change the graphics, the bottom looks the same as the top. So we could flip it this way and go under these lights, and then it would give more detail to the flooring, I think. I don't know that I'll do that everywhere, like the hangar and stuff like that. I may not. Mostly just catwalk areas, like hallways, like maybe do catwalks here, leave this as steel blocks, etc. Basically anywhere that you're supposed to be walking around. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap things up for this episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.